let's jump to economics, because I think this is where we can clearly see a difference on the two of them. I, for one, I've looked at both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump's tax plans, and there cannot be a clear difference between the two of them on what they want to do on tax policy. And if you are a progressive, you are not satisfied with Hillary Clinton's tax policy, but you sure as hell should be able to see the difference between what Hillary wants to do on tax policy and what Hillary and Donald Trump wants to do. Donald Trump's tax, well, you know what? Let's let them speak for themselves, right? You may as well listen to them. So this is clip number 9, and we need to start at about 2 minutes and 1 second, and we'll hear Hillary Clinton's response on tax policy. Well, yeah, okay. That seems like to be a long spot to... Hell, let's just let it play from here.
But to create new opportunities and new businesses. I want us to do more to help small business. That's where 2/3 of the new jobs are going to come from. I want us to raise the national minimum wage, because people who live in poverty should not, who work full time should not still be in poverty. And I sure do want to make sure women get equal pay for the work we do. I feel strongly that we have to have an education system that starts with preschool and goes through college. That's why I want more technical education in high schools and in community colleges, real apprenticeships to prepare young people for the jobs of the future. I want to make college debt-free, and for families making less than $125,000, you will not get a tuition bill from a public college or university if the plan that I worked on with Bernie Sanders is enacted.
Okay.
And we're going to work hard to make sure that it is, because we are going to go where the money is. Most of the gains in the last years since the Great Recession have gone to the very top. So we are going to have the wealthy pay their fair share. We're going to have corporations make a contribution greater than they are now.
Okay, so she makes her case. I actually figured out why I couldn't find what I wanted in that clip, because it's actually in the next clip. You guys know how this is. On debate nights, I try to get you the audio as quickly and the video as quickly as I can, and sometimes it's not as pretty as I would like it to be. But that's just life. So here's the actual clip. She was making her case there. Here's her clip of what she said, or Donald Trump's take on economics.
Great deal. Then we're going to terminate NAFTA, and we're going to create new deals. We're going to have trade, but we're going to terminate it. We're going to make a great trade deal. And if we can't, we're going to do it. We're going to go a separate way, because it has been a disaster. We are going to cut taxes massively. We're going to cut business taxes massively. They're going to start hiring people. We're going to bring the $2.5 trillion that's offshore back into the country. We are going to start the engine rolling again, because right now our country is dying at 1% GDP.
Well, let me translate that if I can, Chris, because
you can't.
The fact is,
well, actually, I agree. You can't translate that, because it's utter nonsense, right? Donald Trump has a knack of pandering on issues that are near and dear to progressives, but he does it without actually addressing the issue, right? He speaks, and this is a perfect example, right? He speaks about NAFTA as if it's the worst thing in the world, and he speaks about the TPP as if it's the worst thing in the world, when he has been one of the biggest beneficiaries of NAFTA, right? So he's a beneficiary of it, and he stands to benefit from the TPP. And if he does oppose the TPP, it's really going to be in the form of, I negotiated a better deal, because his only problem with the TPP has been that it's a bad deal, right? So another example of how he does this with progressives, and this is what he was doing here, was he hits on the theme without getting to the specific. He hit on the theme, and we'll play that clip in a minute. He hit on the theme of election fraud without getting to the specifics of what he's actually talking about is voter suppression. That's what he's talking about. So he has this knack of hitting on a general topic that seems to intersect with progressives without ever actually revealing his real hand, which is in this case, voter fraud versus election fraud. Yes, we need to look into election fraud, but Donald Trump is not talking about election fraud. He's talking about voter suppression. He's talking about making sure voter ID laws are passed, making sure that we make it difficult for people to go and vote 5, 10, or 15 times. So that's really what he was doing on economic policy. He was trying to make it seem like he identified with the progressive strand, but all in all, he really isn't dealing with the specifics.